Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. I hope you have had a wonderful day. I feel like it should honestly be about Thursday or Friday. There's been enough on my schedule this week, and Andrea and I were both just talking. We're both heading out of town at the end of the week, and so those kind of weeks typically do feel long because you put so much in the few days that you're around. So, Dr. Andrea, thank you and welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. I love these. They're great.
I know they're so fun. And for those of you, many of you recognize Dr. Andrea, especially if you are a boot camper. She has spoken at several of our pediatric events as well. She and Sheree joined me for our really life-saving event during COVID. We did a Zoom call on pregnancy and pediatrics, and it is also online for Sherman CEs. And do you know that I probably at least once a month somebody accesses that training, and it's been over 4 years that it's been there. So thank you for helping me to create such great content so that men and women can learn what it takes to serve the pediatric and pregnancy population. So here's my question for you. You've been in practice a long time. What's been most surprising about your experience in the boot camp as a veteran seasoned chiropractor?
There's probably quite a few things. I mean, I'm often surprised that I feel like sometimes I'm struggling somewhere or I forgot something because, as if you've been doing it a while, like myself, you get in a rut or you just start doing the same thing. And all of a sudden you'll just pop on with a topic that I just needed or I forgot about, or let's go ahead and review how to have gratitude towards our patients, or let's go ahead and start talking about how to ask for referrals or talk about referrals. And you're like, I haven't really done that this morning or yesterday. Maybe I should get back on with that. So you hit such an array of topics. And I feel like when you've been in it for quite some time, you let a lot of things go. You let things kind of fall by the wayside sometimes. So it's really great to get me focused again.
We get comfortable.
Yes.
Right. I mean, and we can easily do the same thing in a marriage or with our children or in lots of different ways. And it's funny that we call it the comfort zone. It's really uncomfortable because I don't think that's who we are as human. As human, we're always looking to expand and make impact and connection and all that kind of stuff. And so I've recently been kind of playing with that idea of it's not get out of the comfort zone. It's actually we get out of the uncomfortable zone. And the comfort zone is when we're making a difference and making an impact.
Interesting. I like that view. That's good.
Yeah.
You surprised me tonight too.
I was on a call this morning with Dr. Ron Oberstein, the president at Life West, and we were talking about joy. And it hit me that we don't have to teach anyone to have joy. And there's nothing that we do really that adds to or takes away. It's just remembering, because think of a child, think of your youngest baby. You didn't have to teach her all right, honey, this is what brings you joy and this is what doesn't. She just innately knew. So then we get covered with all this horse crap on our diamonds and forget that we already have joy on the inside. And so something like Gratitude or asking for referrals because it's an act of love and service, just such great reminders, even over and above the business aspect of it, just simply the human aspect of it, I think.
Sure. And it always seems that you bring up that topic or you'll talk about referrals. And then my patient right after lunch that day, because I'm on Wednesday calls a lot. And on Wednesday, we'll go back and the first or second patient, I'll be working on them and they'll say to me, so how early can I bring my baby in? I'm like, duh, she just said I'm supposed to be talking about this. It's like it has to hit you in the head 3 times before you're like, oh yeah, every single person. I should be doing whiteboard topics. I should be talking about, yes, get the baby checked the first week. Is your baby going to latch right? But like you said, many years, sometimes I breathe and I just forget to talk.
Yes. And Andrea, what are your musts, your go-tos in practice that have led to such a phenomenal relationship? You know, it's interesting. You posted in the boot camp the picture of the baby with like
Oh
major
yeah.
infection, and then it
Hmm.
was like 8 weeks and then 12 weeks. And I showed it to my husband and he only saw the before picture. And he's like, "Don't show me that. Like, I feel so bad for that baby." I'm like, "Wait a minute. Look, this is like under chiropractic care with Dr. Andrea for 4 weeks. Completely different child."
It
So from
is.
a clinical aspect, what are your musts that you not necessarily just look for, but they're always top of mind with you when taking care of babies?
That's a great question. The well, history is huge to me. I mean, a history tells me so much, and that's where we start. And that brought me back today. One of the little ones I started today is 4 days old, who came through C-section. So when you hear that, you know that you're going to find certain things in these little ones, and there may be just different reflexes, different tone, different range of motion, and things like that. Especially if they're an early C-section, because then you have their age is not their age kind of thing. They're only 37 weeks. So I think a history is really important, to listen to the parents and listen to what they're already facing. Because a mom who had a C-section 4 days ago and brought you their baby at a 4 day old, 37-week baby, they trust you a ton and they're going through a lot. So you need to listen. Listening is very important with those people. And then
Yes.
above that, I think honing in on your hands and your skills, especially at that age, to me is extremely important. And I guess it's at least maybe 10 or 12 years I started doing a lot of the SOT work and following some of the work of, Dr. Martin Rosen. And I just really love the cranial work on those kids, the sphenoid releases, and working with the temporals on these babies who never went through the birth canal. And I just think it makes a big change on the ones who are having trouble latching, they're having trouble sucking. It's just cranials make a really big deal. So that'd be something that I think is really important for people to start learning. I know Sheree's doing a lot of teaching of that, and just anywhere you can get information on it. I'm diving deep this year. I'm diving deep with Dr. Martin and doing like a 40-week Fridays or something. It's like 38 or 40 weeks every Friday. It's going to be a tidbit, and we're going to go over parts of the cranium. So I'm really excited to just dive even deeper into my knowledge of cranial work. And here I am, honestly, keep learning. That's the biggest thing for peds. Just keep learning and keep going, because at 26 years in, I mean, do I have to go to seminars? No, I like to go to seminars and I like to serve the community and learn more. So that would be my main. Listen to the moms, get a good history, and try to get yourself familiar with some cranial stuff now for those little ones. Latch is a huge thing right now. Tongue ties are a big thing. Feeding.
And I don't think that's something that's going to go away.
No, I think you're correct. I think we're going. I
Right?
think
Like,
it's been open now. It's a Pandora's box now. Yeah.
yeah, we're not moving in a direction where babies are being born healthier. Maybe in rural communities when they haven't been so exposed. It used to be that the people who come out of the mountains, like have all the problems. And now we're all going up into the mountains to try and escape the chemical onslaught and the stress and the
Sure.
5G, all of that kind of stuff, because it's messing
Definitely. The
with.
food. I mean, just think of the food, right? I mean,
Yeah.
think of what we're feeding ourselves now versus, what maybe our grandparents fed. The
Right.
chemical layers in the body. And I forget the number. There's been studies on the cord blood, and how
Oh,
many
yeah.
chemicals are found in the cord blood of these infants now. I mean, that means they're already getting chemicals. How many chemicals? And probably Dr. Berger was good with this. There's probably so many chemicals that these babies are just getting in utero that we don't even understand at this point. So it's so
Yeah.
important to be checking them and balancing their neurology, their nervous system, and giving them the best care you can.
Yeah. And with history, it's this is where I've really been on this kick lately of learning that none of us even knew how to feed ourselves at one point, or wipe our own butts, or walk, or talk, or adjust, or any of that, right? And so often I see docs, like, especially after graduation, it's almost like if they don't know how to do something, it's like, well, I don't know how to do it. Well, then we learn, right? Like, and in order to become really sought after, and for parents to bring their 4-day old baby, C-section baby to you, it's more than like a weekend. It's continuously
Decades.
learning, right? And it's having your hands on babies and having mentors like Dr. Andrea, who will be at the Business Plus boot camp, which was our peds boot camp. It's still going to be peds. It's clinical one day and it's business the next day.
Awesome.
We have lots of new cool stuff that we're going to be doing at this one. One of them is, do you remember Diff Die in school?
No.
I remember that class, right? Throw up a case study and then you had to come up with your differential diagnosis.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I
Yeah.
don't know that we called it that at Life.
Oh, okay. So one of the ideas I came up with, and we're going to be doing it when we go to Life West here in November, when we go and speak to the students there, is put up like case management. Like, here's a history. And then we'll divide the students in half, and half of them will go over here and learn with an experienced doctor of what do you look for and what questions are really necessary to ask in this case history, because a parent or a person isn't probably going to be able to tell you everything that you need to know because they're just not thinking that certain things are important. They're counting at us to ask them the questions to get the information on what to look for. And then the other half, I'll be taking them through from a business aspect. What do you do? Like, how do you create your care plan? How do you present your findings? How do you set up a financial plan? What are the systems now that take place? So it's all encompassing, and we'll be doing that quite a bit at the Business Plus boot camp.
Nice.
And so when you come to these events, you'll get so much like really practical experience from veteran chiropractors like Dr. Andrea, who's actually, she's in a birthing center. So talk about being able to see, from conception all the way past birth and beyond. So Dr. Andrea has tons of experience, and then other boot camp docs will also be there on hand to help. So Andrea, let me ask you this. What about a doctor who's watching right now, who's been in practice for a long time, and they're just kind of like bored, and they forgot why they got started? What advice do you have for them, and where do you see that they would fit in at the boot camp?
That's a good question too.
Yeah.
So what do I think? I think just learning and getting back in and learning new things, because if you notice with most people, and my husband's also a chiropractor and most of our close friends are chiropractors, and it's just the way that we all roll together, right? We hang out with a lot of husband and wife chiropractors and stuff like that, and most of our friends have been in practice 25 plus years at this point. And it's interesting because everybody's always, I don't know if they're getting bored, but everybody's always trying to maybe work a new niche, or they learn something new, or they're going to try something new in the office. So I think learning and coming to the boot camp and just meeting so many different people, and then having access to all the modules online, just you can look things up. Like the other day I was on the elliptical and I just went on, and I think I went on and I watched Sheree. She was talking about tongue tie. And I was like, oh, that's something. Like, I talk about tongue tie every day. We have 3 lactation, in our practice, but I listened to it and I was like, oh, that's something different. I never thought. And I caught something. So even people who do things all the time, you can go back and you can learn. So I think just being around people who want to learn, and even if they don't, you can learn. Just open your computer. That's what I love most, I think, about the boot camp. You can open your computer. Right there in the search bar, you put a word, referrals. There'll be 10 things about referrals. Pregnancy, you put it in 10 things about pregnancy. Or what did I put in? Financials the other day or something. All these things came up about financials. So you can just watch a little module on something. I listened to Roberto the other day too. So about speaking. So there's all different things in there. If you just feel like it's Sunday and you just need to learn something for Monday, then you just hop on there and you could review something. So
Yes.
I think it's cool. Learning to me is really cool. And that's what I find with people who have been in for a while. If you're not out going to seminars or learning online, I think you get even more bored and you fall into a rut. So I would say the more you can learn is the better. And I've learned a ton at the boot camp, and I just advocate for anything you can do to learn more about your niche. And sometimes people even change their niche, right? Once they
Yeah.
learn something, you've had that
Yeah.
happen quite a bit in the boot camp. You know, people who thought they were doing peds and pregnancy maybe became sports people, or the sports people became functional medicine type practices. So, you know, we can always pivot and learn more and find where we're comfortable at that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also for those of you who don't know the boot camp, there isn't a model.
No.
There isn't a, oh, that's a boot camp office. I tell you what we are. We're focused on fun. We're completely out of balance. When when we're home, we're 1,000,000% present with our family, knowing that I did what I needed to do in the office. Like, it's fine. I'll be there on Monday or I'll be there tomorrow. And then when we're in the office, we're 100% all in serving our community, knowing my family is fine. I'm not here feeling guilty like I didn't spend time with them. And we live by a motto: if I'm going to be away from my family, I'm making money. And in order to do that, we have to make impact. And in order to make impact, we have to be present time conscious. And I love Troy Dukowitz said something at Focus this summer. He said, be where your feet are.
Cool.
And I was like, that's really powerful. Be where your feet are. And so that's the boot camp model. Like, everyone is welcome. There's every style of practice. There are boot campers from every school and every facet, and
Every age.
every age. We find an experience level. Some boot campers start their first, quarter in Cairo school, and some start at 60 years old. So there is a place for you in the boot camp. If you're not a boot camp member, you can use that link at the bottom of your screen and schedule a call with me. We'll get to know each other, and if I can help you, I'll tell you what that is, and if it makes sense to you, we'll get started. And you can be just like Dr. Andrea. As we close, Dr. Andrea, what final words of encouragement and support for our tribe would you like to give those who are watching?
Well, I think that we have a service, and we have a service that can really change healthcare. And I
Mm,
think all of us need to do, like you say, when we're at our offices, or we should just do the best that we can for the people that we serve. You know, at Life, if you're from Life, it's give, love, and serve. You know, you got to do the best that you can, because you can really help and change lives. And for me, it's mostly pregnancy and pediatrics, and those are the ones that change really quick. I mean, in a month or two, you can make a big difference in a mom in third trimester. You could really change how that pregnancy is going to go. And in the little ones, in a month or two, you know, there's a difference between maybe they could breastfeed and maybe they can't. And that trajectory is huge on the health of that infant. So I think for me, it's just do your best and serve the best that you can to
nice.
whatever group you're working on.
Yes, absolutely.
And keep learning. Always keep learning.
Be your best and keep showing up. Thank you so much for
You're
joining me. Have a
welcome.
wonderful time in South Carolina. I hope you have beautiful weather.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll see you on the inside.
You
Bye,
got
everyone.
it. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.